Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin.
Oh yes, there will be sequels. I want to play a game. Saw 2. This is the 2005 sequel to the horror classic that came out a year prior. The plot: a group of people are brought into this house and sedated, and they wake up, and now they're breathing in this deadly nerve agent, and it ain't looking so good for them. Meanwhile, the cops have discovered Jigsaw's lair and are trying to find those people and save one of the cops' son. And it's a race against time. And it wasn't even supposed to be a Saw sequel, but it works! Surprisingly, everything was ramped up for the sequel in the so far 9-part franchise. The amount of characters, the cinematography, and camera work, the gore, effects, music, and it's overall just a much more grimy experience than the first film. Given that it had a $4 million budget this time around, they weren't being too risky for this endeavor. It was a gamble because sequels are not always guaranteed to make money. However, it still being a low-budget feature, there wasn't a huge chance of losing money. And you know what? This made even more than the first, making nearly $150 million at the box office. Saw 2 was a big deal. I remember seeing some videos back in 2006 where people were so ecstatic to see this film. So does it live up to the first, or is it a disappointing attempt to make the insane even more unfathomable? While I do like that this film amps everything up, that doesn't make the movie better. Sometimes less is more, and the first Saw knew that. I applaud them regardless for breaking away from the formula. Why? Because it wouldn't have worked otherwise. We already have a creepy little horror crime thriller. Its sequel would need to be even more shocking to be anything new and exciting. Therefore, we don't just get everything all amped up, we get a new twist. One that I think works, and wish that it didn't get overused in the sequels. The characters are what make this film so memorable. Well, that and the traps, the gore, as well as the iconic theme. Eric Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg, is the main character. He has a strained relationship with his son, who is put in one of Jigsaw's games.
Works out great for me, though. Your mother gets to keep custody, I get to take you into custody.
Amanda, played by Shawnee Smith from The Blob 1988, is also put into a game again. She apparently didn't learn her lesson, which is where I start to question Jigsaw's morals. He says that people will be instantly rehabilitated. But if that's the case, why is she back? Well, that plays into the twist, which I think is handled perfectly. But that doesn't excuse some future sequels that do the same thing, and the twist isn't there to save them. I also like that Jigsaw was given more screen time. Finally named as John Kramer, the Jigsaw Killer, Tobin Bell plays the character. I didn't mention him in the first one because that would be a spoiler, but he's great in this movie. He's a bit of an instigator. He pushes Detective Matthews' buttons and seems to enjoy it way too much. It's like he wanted him to fail his little task. Although Detective Matthews was quite an asshole to him. The rest of the cast of characters are great as well. Most of them play despicable people, and do it convincingly. There's also another threat within the game. Xavier, played by Frankie G, is the short fuse that is always ready to explode. He's a danger to not only himself, but everyone else. He made for a good, intimidating villain. Darren Lynn Bousman took over directing duties, while James Wan went on to direct other projects. He makes some great choices here in terms of trying to be original, yet faithful to James Wan's style. Therefore, the camera is constantly moving around, and interesting transitions are used. Sure, the transition effect gets old and overused in the sequels, but here it was kind of cool. However, some of the editing tricks go a bit crazy in parts, and it is distracting. Something that never gets old, though, is the gore, the effects. The gore is pretty gnarly here. We get a slit throat and wrists. Oh, I can't stand that shit. A bat with nails sticking out of it is slammed into one's head. A helmet with nails inside it is closed on one's head like a Venus flytrap. It's an unsettling watch for sure. All the effects are practical and look great. They're painful and hard to watch at times, making for a truly nerve-wracking experience. The motion picture soundtrack, Charlie Clouser or Closer, returns to give us a more uneasy score to listen to. The metal music during the torture scenes is turned down a bit to make way for a more eerie score. I dug it. Overall, this is a great sequel that makes for a more gruesomely entertaining venture than the first sometimes. I still prefer the first movie quite a bit, but this was disturbing and fun enough to get my recommendation, especially if you're a cringe-craving gorehound. That pit of needles scene alone, man. Whew. By the way, my mom loved this one too. Overall, I give Saw 2 a 3 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page, hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.